This segment of Hak5 is brought to you by The Ben Heck Show. Join modding wizard Ben Heck and friends as they build and modify a host of amazing community-inspired creations. Be sure to watch the new episodes of The Ben Heck Show every 2 weeks right here at revision3.com/TBHS. In the latest episode of The Ben Heck Show, Ben comes up with a great project just in time for Father's Day: a toilet illuminator. Don't forget to go to element14.com/TBHS to find out how you can enter to win the latest builds from Ben's show.
Every year, college students from around the country compete in a set of regional collegiate cyber defense competitions. These are the Nationals.
The CCDC came about when the National Science Foundation met here in San Antonio, Texas, with academia and industry professionals and government and civilian professionals as well. They basically weren't really sure exactly what they were looking for, but they wanted a way for the students to be able to put their educational training and what they're learning in the universities into practical application. Dr. Greg White, who's the director of the Center for Infrastructure Assurance and Security at UTSA, came back and he said, you know, this is something we can do, and we actually modeled it after the CDX. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with that, but it's run by the Air Force, and it's very similar. So we thought this would be a great thing to do at the collegiate level, and you know, we put our heads together, and it just kind of came from that.
CCDC models a small business at each level. So essentially what we do is we give teams of up to 8 college students a small business network that they have to secure, maintain, and defend.
Well, first we just come up with what crazy company are we going to make them be, you know, whether it be some e-com site and they have to deal with, like last year was Quickie Pill, so they had to deal with HIPAA compliance and stuff like that. We always try to throw a curveball. Or to just your average retail site, and to this year they're a hosting provider. We always change everything as much as we can to make sure that when we have repeat teams, it's never the same thing. They're not going to see the same thing twice.
CCDC is pretty much everything you can't learn in the classroom. I feel like right now colleges aren't teaching exactly what they should. They're preparing you for concepts, not necessarily real world, and this competition is a great way to substitute what you can't get. And it definitely brings a lot to the table as far as career-wise. Got 15 or so companies sponsoring the thing, and it's a great way to network yourself and get out in the world and actually shake hands with people that are going to help you through life.
CCDC is actually probably my favorite competition. I really enjoy it just because of the real-world applications. You know, you're getting these systems that are maybe not the newest, but you can't change it. You're kind of having to write things and explain things to people that might not be tech savvy, obviously simulated, but in the real world I could definitely see that happening. And then just dealing with really good hackers. You know, the Red Cell here are some pretty skilled guys, and it's a lot of fun to get to, you know, defend the different systems against them.
Okay, so we have the White team, who are typically industry volunteers that come in and they observe the teams from the observe the competition from the team rooms. They help us to ensure that the students are following the rules. We don't allow the students to bring in any of their own devices. They can't bring in their USB filled with, you know, the proprietary tools that they want to use unless they make that publicly available for everybody. Then we have the Black team, which is our operations team, and we run the competition. We have the Orange team this year, and the Orange team is our customer.
Hi, I called in about 15 minutes ago. I was having problems trying to register an account so I could, you know, create some domains.
They're the customers that are logging into the websites, placing orders, so the purchasing customers, but they're also acting as the customers of the hosting. So they are scoring it from more of a functionality aspect.
And so how'd you get on the Orange team?
Well, this is our 3rd year sponsoring CCDC, so just asked Jess what she wanted us to do, and said she had this new Orange team thing that they wanted to try out, so.
Go Mommy, this is Rusty.
I'm trying to reach Quickie Pills customer service.
Yes. Hold on one second, I'll transfer you.
Thank you very much. Transferring me.
Quickie Pills customer services. Rusty.
Hi, Rusty. This is Let's Be Frank. Trying to log into your website and I'm getting nothing. I see a JavaScript error on page and I'm not sure this has anything to do with it, but the top left of the page says template.quotation/head.php and then a bunch of weird characters, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Okay, this is on the Quickie Pill site?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get my team to look at that. We'll get back to you.
All right, I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks a lot. Their technical team is taking a look at it, and they're going to get back to us.
I think the Quickie Pill site got, there's some nice PHP functions in the JavaScript in the main page.
Quickie Pills?
Quickie Pills.
What is that?
It's one of the hosting.
One of our clients.
Yeah.
They are a silver, or they're a platinum level client also. So they have, platinum level clients, so they have a 4-minute SFR. FYI.
And then we have the blue teams, which are the competitors, and the red team, who are industry professionals that come down and provide the real-life threat aspect of the competition, and they basically hack against the teams.
The role of the red team is to basically make the teams lose as many points as possible. So, and to teach them that you can't just rely on one single thing to protect your infrastructure.
You're there as an aggressive, real-world attacker who's there to steal their information, take down their systems, and expose their customer information and prevent them from being online. So you're there as an aggressive, real-world threat.
One of them is to be a completely chaotic actor. Right? They have to get used that their adversary has absolutely no rules and they can't put any constraints on their adversary. The second is to be able to put them into real-world scenarios where they will be manifesting themselves, like patch management, right? And teaching them that you have to install the patch, so you own the box over and over again until they start patching it, and then they start to see that they get more points. The third part of that is being able to walk them through what it's like to actually be in an environment that may be really, really messed up. Because most of us, when we come out into the professional world, you get into these legacy environments that have everything going on and you have no idea what's on the system. So we make that more real world.
The CCDC offers students a glimpse of real-world IT. Not only have students adopted an inadequately prepared network actively being hunted by the red team hackers, but there are unhappy customers and even senior management to report to.
Password, that IP address page has been modified and it's now encapsulated inside of a frame.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You bet. This is the main interface. We're calling it the general manager's office, but essentially this is the competition director's office. This is where we sit. We're the primary interface for the teams. They're turning in injects to us, password changes, coming to us with questions or concerns about the competition environment. So we are the primary interface for the students right now. Injects are business tasks that we give the students. So they have a small business network that they're supposed to manage and maintain. This year we've chosen a hosting provider. It's called GoMommy.com. GoMommy.com has a series of clients that they purchased from a failed ISP called .bomb.com. And so they're managing and maintaining those. Well, while they're doing that and protecting those systems and keeping them running, they're defending against the red team, and they're also doing business tasks we give them. We call those injects. So the injects can be anything as simple as mirror your DNS. So they've got a core DNS, they've got a virtual DNS, they make sure those addresses match on both sides so one can function as a mirror of the other. Or something as complicated as add a chat function to your GoMommy order site so customers can come in, chat with the sales rep, ask questions about their service, things like that. So the injects vary from the very simple to the very complicated.
We're doing awesome this time. Our inject Imagineer is just killing it.
Trying to. These injects are a little bit... So at regionals we had more injects, but here they're much more involved.
Actually, they're doing really well. This is a pretty challenging environment compared to what they're used to seeing in the regional. So there's a lot more services, there's a lot more systems to maintain, there's a lot more hosts that they've got to keep track of, and of course a larger red team than most of them are used to too. So all those challenges add up to them. It really knocked them on their heels at the beginning, but I think they're starting to come back around and settle in. The biggest thing that they were surprised by, I think, is of course the size of the network, the number of machines they had to use. The vCenter implementation, we gave them all a console access. Not all of them had played with that before. Probably the single biggest curveball is we went, Juniper is one of our sponsors this year, and so everybody has Juniper switches and firewalls. They're all used to Cisco switches and firewalls. So dramatic difference for most of them to walk into an environment that has equipment that they're not familiar with and they have to scramble to adapt to.
Not through the Junipers, right? We don't, this is the firewall, Nick.
Yeah, that's...
A lot of the teams are doing absolutely the best they can to get it up and running. But for most of them, that's the first time they've ever seen one, much less touched it. So yeah, the learning curve is steep.
To prepare for the event, we've spent every Friday, we'd meet for about 6 hours in the evening. We'd set up a situation just like the competition network. We had systems we brought in, we turned on, we installed systems, set them up, misconfigured them, practiced. One team would misconfigure the systems and the other people would try to fix those systems, and we just swap back and forth. And then it was just a lot of training the newbies on how to actually do fairly standard system administration utility, set a static IP address. A lot of that was actually fairly menial, but we had to get the newbies up to speed so we could have not just all seniors and then we graduate next year and then they all go away. We had to sort of train new people as well.
Well, we actually, we're a full-out team at the academy, so we have around 2 hours every day, and Monday through Thursday, where we get to train and kind of practice. So on the team, there's a lot of competitions we do, CTFs, around the world. I mean, we don't usually have to leave anywhere, ICTF against different countries, different professionals. So we're constantly doing different things like CTFs, but at the same time, if we're not doing stuff like that, we kind of do independent research. Each person has a specialty. Each person has something that they like doing, and they go and research the latest and greatest and that kind of thing.
Just kind of set up computers, and we have what we call gift exchanges. So gift exchanges are you give somebody a messed up computer or a virtual machine, and that's your gift to them, and it's their job to find out what it is or what's wrong with it and whatnot.
We try to do a lot of recon on previous competitions. So we'll scan Twitter for pics of what's going on and setting up. Flickr has a lot of old pictures from previous competitions because we're walking into this thing not having any idea what's actually going to be in front of us. So if we can get pictures of what operating systems they're using, what services might be running, stuff like that really helps out.
Most of the motivators, the students that are into it are really into it. They see it as a hobby and a passion. So a lot of them do this for fun. There's obviously the career aspirations that go with it, but most of the students that are here would do this every weekend if you'd let them.
It's one of the highlights of my professional career because I get to see tomorrow's security leaders. So some of the people that have been competitors in the event are now out into the industry. In fact, I've hired a few of them in previous jobs that I've been in. Some of them are actually my clients where I go into security teams and to do some audits or evaluations, and I find people that know me from my participation in NCCDC.
Actually, they just essentially sign up. Just have to be a 2 or 4 year school with an interest in participating. They would contact their regional event or their qualifying event to get started at the ground level. They've got to win their regional to come see me.
So we're doing something new this year for the first